I tell them to say, God bless you and thank you very much, Mr. Holden, because if I'm elected, there's going to be a shift in how we do business. The earmarks that he brings back, and this is really interesting. The national average for earmarks, that's money that gets built into legislation that is simply a congressperson or a senator's idea of where, money that's in certain programs or outside of certain programs to bring back to the people, to the public, to businesses, to fire companies. Now, fire company money is not necessarily earmarks. Very much of those big cardboard checks you see Congressman Holden walk around delivering are to fire companies and ambulance services, and they are not earmarks actually, they are usually grants. They are grants that are applied for by the fire company, researched by the fire company, developed by the fire company, sent to Washington to the Department of Homeland Security, which administers this grant program since 9/11 for volunteer firefighters, and it is reviewed by a panel of experienced firefight and EMT personnel, and they decide who gets the grant, not Congressman Holden. However, you would never know that when the check shows up, because he brings the check and calls for the photo op, calls these folks up and says, listen, get your people together, I got cameras coming. Well, we can't make it today. Well, and when you can make it, let's get it together, because the check's not coming until the big check gets delivered. So then the big check comes, and here's this giant check to so-and-so fire company, $500,000, which they need for their equipment, which they've been processed, which has been legitimately granted by a granting agency. And at the bottom of the check, where you and I would sign our name if it was our check, is Tim Holden. Like he's giving them $500,000. That's not his money. He has no right to sign his name to a cardboard or any check from the government. It's not out of his pocket. That's your money. That's my money. That's some lady in Iowa's money. That's whose money that is. I do support grant programs, which are established grant programs within the federal government. What I am absolutely adamant about earmarks is they are for strictly to give to communities and other largesse. Your money because I want to do it. Government money that's not built into any other prescribed program. It's outside the program. Now I got news for you. It kind of reminds me of the checks we got from the government. Oh, I love that, from the government. From our neighbors. Remember the check we got from our neighbors here a couple months ago? $600, $1,000, whatever it was, depending on your income and family. It reminds me of that. If you have money to give back to me, why did you have it in the first place? That's the first question. And the second question is, why only certain companies? Why only some communities that get that money? All part of a process of re-election. It's all a process of here comes your congresswoman or congressman with your money. You put in for it. We stood there and we fought it out. And those large millions of dollars are not vetted by anybody half the time. Now they say, oh, it's more transparent now. It's not really. It's airdropped into a bill generally 10 minutes before they get to vote on it. And no one can say, why does the city of Harrisburg need Victorian streetlights other than other streetlights? Why is it couple hundred thousand for that and not something else? So the system is unfair, it's inequitable, only some people get it, some don't, and it cost us all, every one of us, money. Every single one of us. Do you know what, by the way, Congressman Holden is very proud, he says, of his earmarks. The national average for everybody in a district is $61 per person. The national average in our district from Congressman Holden is $51 a person. He shortchanged it as $10. And I didn't get my $51. How about you? The inequity of it, the lack of transparency. I think if communities, and we have money to give aside from that which is built into the different agencies and different bills, I think that if you have money like that available, then it should be, have everybody have an opportunity to apply for it, just like the grant process. So that's why I'm adamantly opposed. And it just says, it reflects poorly on who we are when you look at where those checks came from and who gave money to who to get elected.